get this chat shrunk down just a little bit. There we go. Now you can read the article. So ByBit exchange was hacked. Over $1.4 billion in ETH-related tokens are drained. Cryptocurrency exchange ByBit has been hacked for over $1.4 billion in liquid staked Ether, Mantle staked Ether, and other ERC20 tokens, according to on-chain security analyst ZachXBT, who spotted the incident shortly after it occurred. Following the exploit, the on-chain sleuth warned users to blacklist addresses associated with the hack. ByBit co-founder and CEO Ben Zhu confirmed the incident and provided an update on the security breach. Zhu confirmed that transfer was made from exchange's multi-sig wallet to a warm wallet approximately 1 hour prior. The CEO said that the specific transaction was masked to appear legitimate, but contained malicious source code designed to alter the smart contract logic of the wallet and siphon funds. So he said, quote, "Please rest assured that all other cold wallets are secure. All withdrawals are normal. I will keep you guys posted as more develops. If any team can help us track the stolen funds, it will be appreciated." The incident follows several high-profile hacks and security incidents throughout 2024 and early 2025 that left crypto exchanges drained of funds. The ByBit is solvent, though, is what they said. Even if the hack loss is not recovered, all the client's assets are one-to-one backed, and we can cover the loss, the ByBit CEO added in a separate post, which is pretty incredible. Every other cryptocurrency exchange hack, we do typically hear this. We hear, oh, we're still solvent, everything's good. And then like 5 days later, we figure out that they're insolvent. Now, so far, unless I need to go ahead and look and update, which we will get an update here as we look over this, but it looks like all of that has appeared to be accurate, which is pretty crazy that they can lose $1.4 billion and still be solvent. In the next statement, the exchange assured customers that its cold wallets remain fully secure, adding that all client funds are safe and operations continue as usual without any disruption. The price of Ether dropped over 3% following the hack's confirmation, as the breach, among the largest in recent crypto history, sent shockwaves through the market. Now, obviously, we could say that that is basically what is also causing the continued downfall of the market, because Ethereum, from the time of writing that article to now, is down another $400 US, and Bitcoin is at 84,000, dropping well below the $90,000 mark. We are hitting that point in time. We'll talk about this a little bit, right? If we go over, the all time or whatever, you can see here we had that big pump up and then it went back down. Is that, where are we at? Are we from here to here, from the, the 40,000 mark down to the 35,000 mark from previous cycles? Where do you guys think we're at as far as all of this is concerned? I mean, this does look eerily similar to previous cycles, right? So we're kind of used to this sort of dip right around now. What did we say before, right? So we have until December to see the full run this time around. Previously, the full run went through, wasn't it March or April, something like that, of 2022. With the big peak being in 2021 around November. So I think we still have, a chance as far as the typical bull run. I don't think this is necessarily the end all be all to it. Is the ByBit hacked influencing this? I mean, to a certain extent, I'm sure it could. The overall retail sentiment surrounding cryptocurrency, as you'll see here in the video that we're going to be reacting to from Upper Echelon Gamer, is pretty much negative surrounding the entire industry. So people on the outside of the industry looking in, there's a pretty negative spotlight on crypto just because of the amount of meme coins that are getting rug pulled and that sort of thing. Plus these hacks don't help and so on. So, that is all something to take into account. Does it affect it this much? I'm not so sure. We'll be looking at why people think that it's going down as well here in just a second. But back to the hack, the crypto industry has experienced an uptick in hacks and scam related activity in the first several weeks of February 2025. ZK Legend, a money market protocol in Starknet, was hacked on February 14th in an exploit that drained the protocol of 9.5 million, nowhere near the 1.4 billion of the ByBit hack. According to cybersecurity firm Sivers, the malicious actor bridged the funds to Ethereum and the Railgun protocol in an attempt to launder them, but Railgun returned the stolen loot. Jupiter, a Solana-based decentralized exchange, and former Malaysian Prime Minister both suffered social media exploits on February 5th. In both incidents, the threat actors used the compromised accounts to promote fake meme coins. Eliza Labs founder Shaw Walters was another recent victim of a social media hack. The hacker took control of Walters' X account and began posting scam links. Walters said the hack occurred despite having two-factor security authentication on his X account. Now, in regard to two-factor authentication, just so that everybody's aware, there's multiple different types of two-factor authentication that you can apply. One is going to be like a token based, and that's going to be like something utilizing an Authy app, where you end up having like a 6-digit code. Others would be like you get the 6-digit code in a text message, an SMS. Another one would be an email. And then you do have like your FIDO level security keys where you have to actually plug in a key to log into the website. Not to be confused with, here's the thing that I think a lot of people get confused with too. YubiKeys, for example, which are hardware authenticated two-factor authentication, you can plug those in and get a 6-digit code from plugging the key in itself for services that don't support, FIDO2 and hardware authentication, right? That is a potential possibility with using it. That would be the improper way to utilize a YubiKey if a more secure method of needing the key to authenticate directly to that service would be, right? So you need to be taking a look at that when you're applying those and securing your basically your web presence as a whole. And Twitter does support utilizing that hardware level authentication. To get even crazier, you can utilize things like the biometric YubiKeys or biometrics on like a MacBook, a laptop, or something like that, where your fingerprint is also required to unlock that, and that will help. Now, there is like a level of security, right? So for multi-factor authentication, the least secure is going to be email. The second least secure is SMS. I think in theory, it could be between the two. So you could say one way or the other. You could say that email is worse than SMS or vice versa. Only reason being, of course, is that, SIM swapping is going to be possible in that particular case with SMS, a little bit easier than email. It really is up to, I think, the skill of the hacker himself and which way is preferred as far as those two go. Both very insecure, don't recommend them, right? Then a token-based authentication is going to be kind of the step above that, utilizing an Authy application on your cell phone. Now, anything on your cell phone, just keep in mind that if you are running these things on your cell phone and it's not air-gapped, then you're going to be less secure. What is air-gapped? Air-gapped means none of the wireless technology that is built into the phone is actually active, right? So you don't want to have crypto wallets that aren't air-gapped. You don't want to have two-factor authentication devices that aren't air-gapped. You want air-gapped technologies. And this is like why I talk about in the past, of course, things like the NFC wallets, for example. I don't think those are as secure as like an air-gapped wallet that provides maybe a QR code for authentication. I have gone over particular devices in the past, but also just in general, any hardware wallet is dependent on the developers to patch firmware and security breaches. And so at the end of the day, for your cold storage, you really should be looking at just running some sort of paper wallet solution. So there's all of that, but that applies to everything, right? Your X accounts, your email accounts, your Gmail accounts, all that sort of stuff, right? And I think that's something that a lot of people miss. And it's crazy that we have, you know, a lot of these C-levels that are basically getting social engineered, right? We've had the Zegex CEO was social engineered for his Telegram account and had way too much access, right? Why does a C-level for an exchange have database level access? I don't know. That seems like just a security flaw right off the bat. Any CyberSec guys are probably going to be like, no, unless the CEO himself is actually actively participating in the development on the database side of things, which I don't know the reason for that necessarily. But, you know, it's not great. Now, here's an interesting thing that happened with ByBit. They actually saw a burn happen. Now, this is nuts. So ByBit sees over 4 billion bank run after crypto's biggest hack. So this is the bank run. Where do I need to get this? So there was a burn. Let me see if I can find it. I thought I had this up, but I guess I didn't. So there was a ByBit hacker ETH burn, because we're also going to talk about the final results there, which is that particular one. Ethereum burn. Where is this? I'm not going to find it now, am I? It's not in my notes. Boom. Hey, TuberWorks, welcome to the stream. All right, so we're just going to continue on and get more information here. I guess I missed that one, but I could have sworn there was like 10 million or some sort of amount around that of an amount of the Ethereum that was captured in this hack that was also burned. Either way, the results are as follows, as reported by CoinDesk. There was basically a $4 billion bank run as well that happened after crypto's biggest hack. The exchange, facing a bank run, needing to process withdrawals, worked to secure a loan and developed a new software across frozen funds. So it goes over the ByBit hack, which we just covered. And then we don't know the cause yet, but major cryptocurrency exchange ByBit saw after this total outflows of over $5.5 billion after it suffered a $1.5 billion hack. So total outflows is $7 billion in outflows from the exchange. And that hack was believed to come from North Korea's Lazarus Group. So the total assets tracked on wallets associated with the exchange plunged from around $16.9 billion US dollars to $11.2 billion dollars at the time of writing, according to data from DeFi Llama. The exchange is now looking to understand exactly what happened. In an X-Space session, ByBit CEO Ben Zhou revealed that shortly after the incident, he called for all hands on deck to serve their clients with processing withdrawals and responding to inquiries about what is going on. During the session, he revealed that the security breach saw the hackers make off with roughly 70% of the client's Ether, which meant that ByBit needed to quickly secure a loan to be able to process withdrawals. Yet Zhou found that Ether wasn't the most withdrawn token, with most users instead withdrawing stablecoin from ByBit. The exchange, Zhou noted, has reserves to cover these withdrawals. But the crisis deepened as, in response to the incident, SAFE moved to temporarily shut down its smart wallet functionalities to ensure absolute confidence in our platform security. So basically what they're saying happened here is that even though they had all of the cryptocurrency backed 1-to-1, right? So 1 Ether to 1 Ether, 1 Bitcoin to 1 Bitcoin, 1 USDT to 1 USDT. What the users were doing when they were withdrawing to protect their funds is they were converting to USDT and then withdrawing the USDT, for example, which is a stable coin. Now, they don't have necessarily that puts a constraint on the actual total of USDT they have in reserves, right? So then they end up with basically an imbalanced liquidity, which is kind of like what happens with DeFi in a lot of cases, right? You end up like basically having too much USDT compared to the actual token, and it screws up obviously the trading in between those pairs. So same thing, but on a centralized exchange platform. So they had to figure that out. So they took a loan out apparently. And that's the explanation as to why it wasn't that they were insolvent, is what they're saying, right? It's just that they didn't have enough USDT to cover everything. So while the exchange had reserves to back up users' withdrawals, $3 billion worth of USDT was in a safe wallet that had just been shut down as the wallet moved to understand the situation, according to ZIL. On social media, Safe said that while it had not found evidence that the official Safe front end was compromised, it was temporarily shutting down certain functionalities out of caution. While ZIL and ByBit's team were figuring out how to securely withdraw their $3 billion, withdrawals were mounting. Within 2 hours of the security breach, the exchange was facing requests to move over $100,000 off its platform, he revealed. Responding to the situation, he told his security team to engage Safe to find a better way to get this money out. The team ended up developing new software with code based on Ethereum to verify the signatures on a very manual level to move the stablecoins back to their wallet and cover the withdrawal surge. The exchange's team had to remain up all night to be able to fulfill withdrawals, according to ZIL. As the exchange managed to move the $3 billion in stablecoin reserves, it was facing a bank run of about 50% of all the funds within the exchange at the same time. ZIL said that since the incident, the exchange has moved a significant amount of funds off of Safe cold wallets and is now determining what the system it will use to replace Safe is. Now, if we were talking about, does this have an effect on the entire market? Well, obviously. So if there's a bank run of 50% and a majority of those funds are in USDT, that means everybody's selling their crypto for basically the US dollar, which is obviously going to drive the price of crypto down. Now, we are talking about trillion-dollar market caps within the cryptocurrency space. So does $3 billion have the kind of effect that we are seeing on Bitcoin as of right now? Not necessarily, but of course, this was pretty early on. So how much and how far spread is this? Is it impacting other people's viewpoint on cryptocurrency and causing them to trade back into, stable coins? That is probably the possibility there, right? So since the security breach, ByBit has engaged authorities during the session. He said that the Singaporean authorities took the issue very seriously, and he believes it has already been escalated with Interpol. Blockchain analysis firms, including Chain Analysis, were engaged, and he said, quote, "As long as ByBit is there and continues to track their stolen Ether, I hope we can get the funds back," end quote. Notably, he revealed that pushing to roll back the Ethereum blockchain, which was suggested by some industry players on social media, including BitMEX co-founder Arthur Hayes, has been on the table for some time if the community agreed with it. Quote, "I had my team talking to Vitalik and the Ethereum Foundation to see if there's any recommendations they can offer to help. I do really thank all these guys on Twitter asking if there's a possibility to roll back the chain. I'm not sure what the response on their side is, but anything that would help, we would try," he said. Whew, this brings up a lot of issues. I mean, obviously, if we're talking about the capability of Ethereum to roll back the chain, that would completely discredit the decentralization of Ethereum as a whole. Now, people could say, well, the nodes voted for it, therefore we can go ahead and do it, but it obviously shows the willingness to basically not adhere to the principles of cryptocurrency if they do decide to roll back the chain. The thing is with Ethereum is we know that they're capable of doing it because they've done it in the past, right? And yeah, Lotus says, so we would have Ethereum 3. Yeah, we'd have ETH Classic, we'd have ETH ByBit, and then we'd have, Ethereum roll on once again. Remember, this has happened before with the original Ethereum. And a lot of people think, there's a misconception that Ethereum Classic stayed classic because of proof of work, but that's not true. The Ethereum Classic stayed classic because of a hack that was rolled back by the Ethereum dev team previously. So could this happen again? Definitely 100%. Do I think it will? I don't know. That's up in the air, right? When asked if rolling back the chain is even possible, Zoe responded that he doesn't know. Yes, it is. I can tell you guys it is because it's happened before. It's worth noting that a blockchain rollback refers to a stage change that would allow for the funds to be recovered. While rolling back the Bitcoin blockchain is technically possible, such a state change on Ethereum would be more complex given its smart contract interactions and state-based architecture. Nevertheless, that is a good point. So I will say this. It's a lot more difficult now with the amount of dApps on the Ethereum blockchain to roll back, and you would really hurt a lot of developers very easily that way, right? Nevertheless, any state change will require consensus and likely lead to a contentious hard fork, drawing criticism from the community. This would likely split the Ethereum blockchain into two networks, each with its own supporters, just like we saw with Ethereum Classic. As for what exactly caused the hack to occur is still unclear. Per Zoe, ByBit's laptops have not been compromised. He said the movements of the transaction signers have been scrutinized but appear to have been routine. Quote, we know the cause is definitely around the safe cold wallet. Whether it's a problem with our laptops or on safe side, we don't know, Zoe added. So just a quick, history lesson from that perspective is that is why Ethereum Classic, ended up in the position that it's in. And I think the important thing to note there is that, as it pertains to cryptocurrency in general, the reason why Bitcoin is king is because we don't have these people that can interfere with it on a rollback level. And this would be a contentious hard fork, and it would just go further to proving, the centralization of Ethereum, which I think, they're all down for in the first place, especially as we look at Ethereum Foundation's investment into Mega ETH, which we're going to take a look at here in just a little bit. So, nothing's looking good for Ethereum or altcoins in general. Ethereum being the largest altcoin and losing trust like this obviously makes things much worse. I think the trust or lack of trust is going to fall on the centralized exchange and probably safe in general. Funny name to have because it's clearly not safe, but I would assume that that's where a lot of the distrust falls right now immediately. But that is going to flow into distrust of alternative cryptocurrencies, and seeing that we should have already had an altcoin kind of spike up by this point in the market, and that hasn't happened. There is a decent argument for, alt season not happening at this point because we're already moving into that initial correction phase of Bitcoin without any significant run up on the altcoin side of things, right? With Ethereum not even reaching previous all-time highs and retail looking at that down on that pretty negatively as it sits. If I talk to normal people, I'll give you an example. My dad called and he said, you were right. I want to take all of my Ethereum and put it back into Bitcoin. Can you help me do that? And I was like, it's a little late, but I can. But you should have done that, 3-4 years ago, and I told you to do it, not now, right? But it is what it is. People learn those lessons, and those are just part of the lessons that you got to learn right now. Is ETH is not a good store of value, right? For a majority of reasons, right? Not from the Ethereum Foundation controlling a large amount of the supply that they can sell off, to the centralization of the consensus mechanism on third-party cloud-hosted services. I mean, all of these things make ETH not a very good store of value. And if that's your goal within cryptocurrency, which I think for a lot of people it is, like, we like to talk about cryptocurrency getting utilized like on a day-to-day basis, and I don't see like Bitcoin being that necessarily, or even Ethereum because of the fees being so high. But we could talk about these layer 2 solutions that are coming along. That's probably going to be a different piece, right, altogether, and we'll have to see what it is. I would like to see it being something like Dogecoin, because of the inflationary aspects of Dogecoin could fulfill that purpose probably quite well. Definitely wouldn't recommend Dogecoin as a store of value just because of its economics, but it is what it is. Thanks for the follow, Core Activities. I hope you enjoyed this clip from the Crypto Mining Show. If you would like to see more from this particular episode, take a look up here. Don't forget to also subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support me directly, you can go to sonofatech.locals.com and become a member. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next Tuesday.